Erin Spain, and today I'm going to show you how I made this DIY abstract art with a hand-built drop cloth canvas and frame. This is a really easy project and there are so many different ways you can customize it. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon, and let's get started. I started out with 4 1x2 boards, and I cut 2 of them to 3 feet long each and 2 of them to 4 feet long each using my miter saw. I lightly smoothed the rough edges with a sanding block. Using a countersinking drill bit, I pre-drilled 2 holes at each end of the longest 2 boards so that the screw heads would lay flush with the board. Then I drilled pilot holes in the center of where I used the countersinking bit. I used my speed square to keep everything square while I joined the boards together by screwing 1.5-inch construction screws into each of my pre-drilled holes. Since the frame was going to be larger than the top of my workbench, I moved to the ground to better position it for driving the screws in. I used a 6-foot by 9-foot canvas drop cloth for this project, but of course you can modify the dimensions of this canvas to suit your personal preference and then use an appropriate size drop cloth for your specific canvas size. You just want to make sure it's a bit larger than your desired canvas dimensions, so there's plenty of excess cloth to staple to your frame. I laid the drop cloth on top of my frame and cut the excess off, leaving a few inches of extra cloth around the perimeter of the frame. I needed to get the wrinkles out, so I used my steamer, but it just wasn't working as well as I hoped since the canvas was so thick, so I ended up taking it inside and ironing it. Then I brought it back out and laid it face down on the ground and placed the frame on top of it. I used my Ryobi crown stapler and 3/4-inch staples to attach the drop cloth to the frame. I started on one of the longer sides and just folded over the cloth and stapled every 3 to 4 inches or so. Next, I moved to the other long side and pulled and stretched the canvas as tightly as I could before folding it over the frame and repeating the stapling process. The one bad thing about this project is that I wasn't able to pull and stretch the canvas as tightly as a regular art canvas, but for just a few bucks, this is just a really easy way to make cheap art. When it came time to do the 2 shorter sides, I first needed to address the corners. I cut little squares out of each corner to reduce bulkiness, and then I was able to fold it over and staple it. You just have to sort of play around with it until you get it as smooth as possible. After I did one corner, I stapled along that side until I reached the end and then folded over that corner the same way, cutting away bulk and then stapling it in place as I folded it over. I repeated the same process on the other side. After each side had been stapled to the frame, I trimmed away the excess cloth. Then I stapled the edge of the drop cloth to the inside portion of the frame. Now, I am not a perfectionist at all, and I knew no one was going to be able to see this, so I wasn't too worried about it being perfectly straight. But if you are a perfectionist, you can always work on that, make it straight before stapling it. When I was finished stapling, I flipped the entire canvas over and used some painter's tape to get the lint and debris off of it, since I didn't have a lint roller handy. Then I propped it up a tiny bit by placing pieces of scrap wood underneath each corner, and this allowed for me to paint it more easily. I painted it with 2 coats of paint and primer in one. I used Behr Marquee in the color White 52, which is the same color I painted the walls in the room this piece will be going in. I wanted to use paint that I already had on hand, and I knew I wanted this piece to be black and white anyway, so it worked out well. I started with a roller but quickly realized that I was going to have to press down pretty hard on the canvas, and I didn't want to cause any sagging, so I switched to a brush. I painted the entire canvas and let it dry before applying a second coat, since the first coat went on a little bit splotchy. After the 2 coats of white paint had dried, I went in with my black. I used Behr Marquee in the color Onyx and a wide paintbrush. By the way, that was right before the rest of the entire can spilled all over my garage floor. I painted the bottom few inches solid black and then started painting upward brush strokes so that the black covered the bottom half of the canvas and the upward brush strokes created a feathered effect at the top. I just played around with it until it looked the way I wanted it to, and here's where you can have fun customizing your own art with any colors or design you choose. After I finished the painting, I wanted to build a frame. You can stop here and leave it frameless if you prefer, but I decided to add one. I set my miter saw to a 45-degree angle and cut 4 pieces of 1x2 board to fit, meaning I lined it up to my canvas and marked it so it would be exactly the right length. They ended up being cut to the following dimensions: 2 pieces at 39 inches at the longest ends with beveled ends not parallel, and 2 pieces at 50 inches at the longest ends with beveled ends not parallel. This will create mitered corners. I sanded them lightly with a sanding block and then sprayed them with primer, and when the primer dried, I spray painted them gold. When the frame pieces dried, I attached them to the canvas using my brad nailer and 1-inch brad nails, making sure to set the depth to countersink. You can putty over the nail holes if you want to, but they were so small that I didn't bother. I just attached it to the wall using a wall anchor and a screw. Now, like I said before, I wasn't able to pull it as tightly as a regular art canvas, so there was a tiny bit of sagging once I hung it on the wall, but I was able to manipulate it and stretch it and kind of tuck it into the cracks between the frame once it was hung. And there you have it. Super easy, super inexpensive custom art. And now for the outtakes. Channel. Today I am going to be showing you how I made this DIY abstract art on a handmade drop cloth canvas with a hand-built frame. So I'm going to show you how I made it. Okay, yeah, nope. Really inexpensive. I don't know what I was gonna say. Abstract art with a hand-built drop DIY abstract art on a hand-built drop cloth canvas with. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you would subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. You can find me online at erinspain.com and on social media at erinspainblog. In the meantime, please check out some of my other videos. Thanks.